A name to give. There were corners of his apartment that had not been touched in years. The Neapolitan light of the late afternoon came through the curtains as he bent to inspect one such neglected territory. A ring. Wedding? Maybe. Whose? He wasn't sure. He asked around. Not many had been through there, not recently anyway. No clues, not even from acquaintances he hadn't seen in many months. He was willing to shoulder the awkwardness to get to the bottom of this minor mystery. It was too valuable not to. He imagined somebody crying over their grandmother's heirloom, how irreplaceable it was, and so on. But it did not seem that anyone he knew had shed such tears. He wasn't sure why he'd brought it to the bar with him, but one night, in the mood to drink alone, he had. He let it flip around in his palm, sometimes closing the fingers around it and shaking it up as if it were sunflower seeds or dice. "Congratulations," a stranger said. "Oh, it's not mine. I found it. I'm not sure whose it is." "On the street?" "In my apartment, actually." "That's strange," said the other. She appeared to be at least a decade older than he was. A regular, he gathered. "Looks to be worth a good amount, too," she said. "I'll sell it if I can't find who it belongs to. I've got to give it a good shot first, though. Thinking of putting up posters." "Someone will claim it just to sell it themselves. Don't bother." "Maybe." "I had a ring once. I have a story about it, too. Would you like to hear it?" "Sure," he said. He immediately regretted it as he saw her stand up and walk over to take a seat at the stool next to him. He didn't really want to be engaged in conversation all night. After all, he'd come there to be alone. His fault. He hoped the story would at least not be a long one. As if hearing his thoughts, she said, "It won't take long to tell." He nodded. "I was given a ring by my stepmother. It sounds like a fairy tale already, doesn't it?" She smiled, revealing badly stained teeth. He tried not to stare. His weren't so great either. Who was he to judge? "She wasn't a bad lady, though. Nice to me, usually. Had strange beliefs. She said if I looked through the ring, I could see things others couldn't see. I'm not sure she really believed things like that or just like saying she did. Anyway, I didn't believe her. I often got the sense that she was testing me, to see if I had any brains, you know. I liked the ring well enough. I carried it around in my pocket for a while, not daring to wear it. I thought that if I wore it, she'd change her mind about giving it to me, because she'd see how nice it looked. Eventually, though, I thought, enough of this, it's mine now. I'm going to wear it if I feel like it. So I took it out, and before I slid it on, I decided to look through it, like she said. I don't know why. I didn't expect to see anything. I just felt like it, I guess, so I did. I held it up to my eye, closed the other, and looked through. I saw 4 men sitting in the corner of the room. I know you don't believe me, but I did. I wasn't a child then either. I was around 20, I think. As I said, I had no superstitious beliefs or anything like that. I wasn't religious, didn't believe in ghosts or aliens or anything like that. So trust me when I tell you, there were 4 men there. I believe you, he said. I have no reason not to. Sure, you're nice. Anyway, yes, they were sitting there. They looked old-fashioned. It was the hairstyle. really short and wet with a big part down the middle. Like old Hollywood actors, real old. But their bodies, they weren't all normal, like yours or mine. They were constructed out of metal and wood. They had these slats. Maybe that's not the right word for it. They almost looked like cages for bodies and legs and arms, individual sections. Do you follow me? I think so, he said. I can picture what you mean, like dummies maybe, or mannequins. Yes, I suppose so, she said. But they were talking and moving like normal men would. They couldn't have been machines or anything. The movement was way, way too natural and smooth. Their voices sounded exactly like yours or mine. So I walked toward them. I was scared, but curious too. The curiosity was so powerful, it kind of said, "Mary, you've got to get a closer look." So I did. It wasn't until I got a foot away from them that they suddenly turned toward me. And I screamed. I'm telling you, loud too, but no one was home, so no one came running in. It took me a minute, but I finally worked up the nerve to look again. Only after taking a few steps back, though. They were still staring at me. And then one spoke to me, directly to me, making eye contact, even though I was looking through the ring, so it was really only one eye of mine they were looking at. He goes, "What's the job this time?" And I didn't say anything, because I didn't know what they were talking about. Then he goes, "Who is it going to be? Just tell us and we'll get to it right away." I was just staring because my brain was not working right in that particular moment. And I could tell he's getting impatient because he goes, "Just tell us. We're going to find out one way or another." And for some reason, I will never understand why, I said my stepmother's name. Her name was also Mary, but we called her Mary Q. While I just got to be Mary. That was my dad's idea, I think. She didn't seem to mind much. But I went, "Mary Q." And they nodded, and one said, "Fine, that'll be fine." I ran out of the house and out onto the street. My neighbors must have thought I was nuts. I didn't know what else to do. I just couldn't go back in there, not alone. So I walked the blocks for hours until my father finally got home from work. I tell him everything. So I told him about this, even though I knew he was going to laugh at me for it, which he did. Of course, looking through the ring, which he did just to humor me, didn't reveal anything. He thought I was playing a joke on him. But he saw how serious I was, how shaken up I was. The thing is, I didn't tell him I gave those men my stepmother's name. I don't know why. I felt too guilty to tell him the full truth. I know that sounds strange, but the whole thing was strange. I don't know. So, did anything happen to your stepmother? It did. Something did. I'm not sure what. But we all went to the movies one afternoon, me, my dad, and my younger brother, and when we got home, she was sitting at the kitchen table. I remember she was so pale, and I think she was shaking, just a little bit. My dad asked if she was feeling all right, and she said she was fine. Whatever it was, she didn't want to talk about it, and she never did. Maybe she was just sick. But in my mind, and no one can convince me otherwise, something happened to her, and it was my fault for saying her name. The only reason I was able to live with it was that nothing serious happened to her. Something did, and it changed her a little bit, because she was often lost in thought after that, whereas before she was very chatty and friendly. She got depressed more often. I mean, who knows? Maybe it had nothing to do with it. But I think it did. I don't know what they did, those men, but I think they scared her. I see, he said. He was holding the ring he'd found, up a foot or so from his face as he said it. It's a really weird story, not gonna lie. I'm glad she was alright, though. Yeah, I'd be careful about looking through that if I were you. Do you think this is the same ring? The one from your story? No, of course not. I still have that one. I never looked through it, though. Over the years, I've come to the conclusion that all rings have that power. I mean, if they once belonged to somebody who really felt something powerful while wearing it. I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just my personal theory, I guess you could call it. I see. I'd sell it. Don't hang on to a ring that isn't yours, that you're not going to wear all the time. Can't look through it when it's on your finger. She held up her hand then. On her middle right finger was a ring. Is that the one? That's the one. And I never, ever take it off. He thanked her for her story by paying for both his and her tabs, and then went home. Once home, he sat on the couch, eyeing the ring in his palm. A street light in the lot behind his building provided enough illumination to see it well. Yeah, why not, he said, then lifted the ring up to his right eye, shut the left. He scanned the room, at first seeing nothing at all but the usual furniture and stacks of miscellaneous possessions, shoes and coats which hung above them. Then something caught his eye. It was all the way in the corner of his bedroom, which he could just barely see down the hall connecting all the rooms in the apartment together. Still looking through the ring, he walked toward this optical ambiguity. As he got closer, he could have sworn that what he was looking at was a shoe. One of his, maybe? He wondered, stepping closer. But it was soon revealed that the shoe was connected to a leg, slatted and strange, itself connected to a body of similar construction. He walked fully into his bedroom then, his breath becoming quick and shallow. There were more legs and torsos, arms too, heads, old-fashioned faces with tightly slicked hairdos. Who will it be this time? Said one of the handsome, hollow men. Give us a name, and we'll get it done tonight. He tried to catch his breath, but it was racing away from him. He could hear himself breathing, panting, really gasping. Give us a name. Now. Without realizing what he was doing, he opened his mouth and spoke something, just one word, he wasn't sure which. We'll get on it right away. He let the ring fall and roll he knew not where. He searched his mind, trying desperately to recall what he'd said. Then it came to him. But why had he said that name of all names? What could possibly have possessed him to say that one? Now he could hear his own voice, as if miles away, saying it, passing it around his mind as he'd done with the ring in his palm. Mary, he'd said. Mary.